When I first started lifting, I remember searching on Google for the best workout plan as a skinny guy. After going through thousands and thousands of workouts and feeling more confused than when I first started, I felt hopeless. Through years and years of trial and error, making progress, stalling, and making progress again, I can now say I have the best workout plan to gain mass as a skinny guy. I started at 55 kilos and am now 90 kilos. So let's get into it. Starting with the exercises. So as a skinny guy, you want to gain mass, you want to gain muscle in every single area and as much as possible. So the best exercises to do are going to be compound lifts. These are exercises that target more than one muscle group. For example, with something like the squat, this is going to help to not only boost your quad growth, but as well as that, a little bit of the glutes, even a bit of the hamstrings too. So this is a great compound lift that's going to help you to build up mass in so many different areas. And with compound lifts, I would do these at the beginning of my sessions when you have the most energy, the most strength, the most power to really push yourself into those lifts. Because otherwise, if you start with isolation, for example, on a pull day, if you were to start your session with bicep curls, then when you go on to the back exercises, your arms are going to be fatigued. So when you're doing your back movements like pull-ups, like pull downs, you won't be able to lift as heavy because your arms will be so fatigued. So for compound lifts, always do this at the start. Okay, cool. So you're probably thinking, what are the best compound lifts? And these are my personal favorites that really helped me to gain size, gain strength, and gain muscle. So for chest, incline dumbbell press. For back, it's got to be pull-ups. And for shoulders, dumbbell shoulder press. For quads, squats. And for hamstrings, RDLs. But of course, it's still good to add some isolations as well as compound lifts. Right, so let's get into the splits. And as a skinny guy, the best workout that I found was an upper-lower split. So with the upper-lower split, it primarily uses a lot of compound lifts. So this is obviously great for building up mass. And with upper, with lower, it only takes me 45 minutes to an hour at max. And then that's all out the way. So it's super quick, super efficient, and helps you to build a lot of mass. In terms of the structure, I would do no more than 8 exercises for your upper days. So typically I do around 6 to 7, but I'd say 8 is the limit. And for the lower days, that can be the same. However, you can still get away with 5, maybe 6 exercises for the lower body days. And for the actual exercises, in terms of the large muscle groups, I would do 2 exercises for chest, 2 for back, and then potentially 2 for shoulders. With shoulders, if they're a strong point and you've been lifting for a while, you can even get away with just 1 shoulder exercise in your upper body day. For the smaller muscle groups, like arms, you could do a superset. So this could be 1 or 2 exercises for bicep, 1 or 2 for tricep. With arms and smaller muscle groups, they don't need as much time to recover. So with supersets, it gets out of the way very quickly, very efficiently. Now, coming on to the accessory day is what I like to call it. And this is a 5th training session. Outside of the upper and lower, you're going to have a 5th day. You're going to use this to really fill out your frame. So we're going to target the more t-shirt muscles. So the muscles which are always on display. And first of all, this is going to be forearms. Now, when you're wearing t-shirts, your forearms are always on display. And even if you have huge biceps, huge triceps, if your forearms aren't catching up, then your arms are still going to look skinny. So with forearm training, we can do hammer curls. Now, this is an amazing exercise because not only is it going to grow your biceps, but it also targets the brachialis and the forearms too. I'll also include some isolations to the forearms. The 2 forearm exercises I'll include is barbell behind my back curls, and the other one would be in front of me. So this would be seated wrist curls. So by having these 2 variations and even hammer curls, you're going to target your whole forearm. The other exercise there's always on display is your neck. So even if you have a t-shirt, no t-shirt, your neck is always on display. And to train this, what you can do is neck extensions. So you can be on a bench, buy a neck harness, and then you can curl from there. The second exercise is going to be neck curls, but with a weight plate. I like to use a hat just over my head, so then I'm not having the cold, heavy plate digging into my head essentially. And by having these two different variations, this will help you to build out a thicker neck. So with forearm and neck out the way, the other things I train on this day would be the lateral head of my shoulders. So this would mean I'm doing lateral raises 3 times a week with the upper lower ×2, as well as this extra day. And lateral raises really help you to get those bolder shoulders, but makes you a lot broader and wider, so it makes you look much bigger. And with lateral raises, it only targets a small part of your shoulder, so with this smaller head, it's not going to get super burnt out and fatigued from training it 3 times a week. And something that I've done recently on this 5th day of training is including a superset of arms. Now with my arms, I'm trying to bring them up and their muscle group which lags behind a little bit. So having them on the 5th day means they get extra volume. However, because they're a smaller muscle group, it's not going to interfere with my upper days as well. So if there's an area that you know is a weak point or you want to bring up, you can include 1 or 2 exercises on this 5th day. Sweet, so that has been my perfect workout plan as a skinny guy. Now, of course, gaining weight, bulking up, a lot of it comes down to the nutrition and having the correct structure. So if that's something which you need a bit of help, a bit of guidance on, I do have my one-to-one coaching where you get customized workout nutrition plans, check-in and accountabilities with myself, plus support and so much more. So if you're interested in that, click the first link in the description, fill out the form, and then I'll be in touch. Other than that, drop a like, drop a subscription, and I'll catch you next time.